Welcome to Groundbreakers, the podcast about real estate, housing, and construction here in Ontario, Canada. I am Nick Stilo, your host, and my co-host, Joe Villar.
Welcome back, everyone.
We're back. Is this the first time of the year that we're filming?
This is the first time in 2025.
That's
yes, sir.
Awesome. We're back.
We're back.
And we've got a
Did you miss us?
One Urban episode coming up soon. Actually, it's not going to be bourbon anymore because it's off the Canadian shelves. We're going to have to call it rye or whiskey with One Urban for a few episodes till things straighten up with these tariffs.
That's right.
Is that true?
Sucks to be you, U.S.
No, it sucks to be
Sucks
us
to be
Canadians.
us. Never mind.
So is that true though? Like, there's no bourbon made in Canada?
Let's ask ChatGPT.
Oh, good segue.
Because we are going to talk about ChatGPT today and how ChatGPT is changing
It's transforming our lives.
our lives. It actually is. And there's a tons of negatives to this too, but there are also tons of positives to this. And one of them is being able to rather quickly, while my computer just shut off, go to a ChatGPT and ask if there's any Canadian whiskey or bourbon rather.
Did you see what Nick just did?
Is there any Canadian bourbon?
What does it tell you?
While the term bourbon is legally reserved for whiskey produced in the United States, primarily in Kentucky, some Canadian distillery craft bourbon-style whiskeys that adhere to traditional bourbon production methods. So in a nutshell, no.
No.
So did you notice what he just did? He went from one device, didn't work, went to another device.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
you got to go to the library. You got to research it. I'm talking before the internet.
Or if you had encyclopedias in your house.
What's that?
Exactly. You know, I have them in my den, but they're just for decoration.
They look
They
good.
just did it to fill up the shelf to look nice.
They make us old guys look smart.
Exactly.
Nowadays, this cell phone device makes you look
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, most people are just on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's right.
But how crazy it is that ChatGPT is quite literally taking over a lot of industries. And if we talk about how it's taking over even the real estate development industry, it's fascinating. Joe and I were at a grand opening event to a new purpose-built rental building in Mississauga back in October. We had the pleasure of meeting the Right Honorable Paul Calandra, who is the housing minister, and we specifically asked him that question. What is AI doing for real estate development, and how is it being implemented across the housing industry? And you know what he said? They were piloting a program. I can't remember where it was. Was it Brantford that they were piloting in?
I don't recall.
So they're piloting a new program where they're going to use a real estate building permit version of AI for the municipality to upload all of the permit submission drawings and all of the reports and have the AI scan it all and give you comments within 10 minutes. That's something that would take months in the past to do, and it'll give it to you in 10 minutes, because really what ChatGPT or the AI is doing is it's looking for compliance to building code.
That's right.
Because you're not going to have a plans examiner is going to go back and tell an engineer who stamped a drawing that you can't do it this way. The engineer is taking on the commitment to general review to that specific discipline. Right. So a plans examiner is not going to say, you can't build it that way. What a plans examiner is going to say, you can't build it that way because
it's missing this.
it's
or you're
missing,
not missing that.
it's missing this in the Ontario Building Code.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if you can get ChatGPT or the real estate version of AI to tell you the compliance to Ontario building codes in a matter of 10 minutes, that is going to dramatically increase the amount of time that it takes to get comments back, which then get our consultants working on their response, and the process will now become quicker. That is a great case use.
Because
for
that's
ChatGPT
the
or
typical
for
problem,
AI.
isn't it?
That's a huge problem for
Right?
us.
It's all the not the bureaucracy, but the time it takes to get approvals within the municipalities. It takes time.
Look,
time is money.
oftentimes I send an email to a plans examiner or a department within the city, and oftentimes you'll get an answer right away, and oftentimes you'll get an answer in a week, just to an email.
Right.
And
Why
I understand
is that?
Well, they're backlogged. They've got under-resourced, and a lot of projects that they're looking through. Especially now, where a lot of developers in these economic times that we're in. I mean, let's be real. The economy's crap right now.
It is.
A lot of developers are putting things on hold, but they're getting things approved. So they're not going to build anything, but they're going to progress forward with their entitlements on the land because it's going to raise the value of their land. So it's always good for them to do. Plus, it gets their project shovel ready for when the economy does turn, hopefully, and investors start coming back, hopefully, then they'll be ready to pull the trigger on building permits and start building. So the cities do have applications that are coming in, but nobody's putting a shovel in the ground. And I think ChatGPT is going to help a lot with getting these applications approved and pushed along so that when the economy turns around, developers are ready to put a shovel in the ground, which is going to cause a big problem on its own. It's going to require a whole bunch of labor force that might not be available to service all of these projects that are going to come online all at the same time. That's going to cause another problem.
True.
Not really. Because then you're going to ask ChatGPT how you can conquer that problem without the labor.
Well, I did that. And ChatGPT actually gave me 10 different ways of how it's going to help the construction and housing industry. And I'm looking at some of these solutions that it's proposing, and they make a lot of sense. Like, for example, optimized project planning. ChatGPT can assist in creating detailed project plans, schedules, and budgets, enhancing efficiency and reducing errors. That's as per northconstruction.com.
So we were provided a tutorial or an example. What was that software that was presented
Open
to
Space AI.
Open
This
Space
thing
AI.
was
Open
wild.
Space.
In crazy,
Yeah.
crazy
This thing
stuff,
was
right?
wild.
Right?
I've heard of it.
It basically what it does is you put a camera, right, on your helmet, on your whatever, and you walk throughout the construction site, and it captures everything. And I don't know, 4K, 5K, 10K, whatever it is,
Well, it's
right?
constantly taking photos, taking 150 photos
Yeah.
a minute or something like that.
That's right.
My God.
And it's archiving all this for you, right?
And it's 360. So you don't have to specifically look at anything. You just got to walk. And as a project coordinator or owner's rep, you can walk in and out of units, down corridors. It will get rid of all people, and all it shows you is raw construction data. So at any given point, you can go back and say, what did we install in the beginning of February in that slab before we poured concrete? And all you got to do is go back to the calendar, click on that day, and now it has a detailed high-resolution photo of the core line that you put inside the slab and where the spaghetti of it all went.
What's the price on that?
It's pretty reasonable. It's based on square footage and based on the length of construction. So if you're building 300,000 square foot building and it's going to take you 36 months, it's based on number of months and size.
But it goes deeper than that.
Tell me.
You upload your drawings onto the AI, right? And as you're going through the building, it'll capture any nuances or differences from what it's capturing, in real time and what the drawings show. And it'll point those out to you. Say, this beam, it shouldn't be there.
It's going to give you
shouldn't be there.
interferences. It's going to give you interference data.
This is blowing my mind. When did this come out?
It's been out for a couple of years now, but it's now becoming really more widely used. And
Do you guys use this for your building?
So we're not using it right now. We are in the middle of discovery between the several platforms that do this kind of work. Open Space AI is probably the best one for video capturing. There's also Procore, which we use. It's an industry standard, which allows you to upload all documents from a construction site, including requests for information, which are RFIs.
But is that AI driven?
No, it's not. There's an AI component to it.
Oh, okay.
And you can also upload things like SI site instructions that are coming from your consultants in order for you to change something that you're constructing. But there is other platforms like StructSite and a whole host of others that we're in the middle of discovery. And while we're still relatively early in the construction of 440 ESSA, where we're still in the excavation and shoring stages, this will become very, very useful in the coming months, and we're hopefully going to implement something here at One Urban to be able to do that ongoing with our projects. But it's pretty wild when I look at some of the stuff that ChatGPT is suggesting design assistance, for example. ChatGPT can aid architects and designers by providing creative ideas, optimizing layouts, and ensuring compliance with regulation. Supply chain optimization. AI can monitor and predict supply chain disruptions. How is it predicting?
Yeah, so tell me, how is it
supply
predicting?
chain. I don't know. This is ChatGPT that's
Now,
telling
do
me
you
that
guys
it's going to
trust
predict.
it? Do you trust it?
Again, what's the internet? The internet is a whole bunch of data information that human beings have placed on it,
Correct.
right? So not 100% might be accurate. A good portion would be
So you trust it to a certain extent.
to a certain degree. I mean, you have to-
Agreed with that statement. I trust it to a certain degree. I don't trust it like I trust God. And I'm going to be clear about that because I've had this discussion in the last 2 days with 3 different people, including you this morning, Stefano. There is this movement right now that ChatGPT or AI is the go-to source for everything that you need to know or want to know. And Google search has become obsolete now. And why go to Google when you can just go to ChatGPT and it'll tell you everything that you want to know about everything that has no limitations because it's rewriting its own script. And the one thing it can't rewrite is creation. It didn't create itself. It was created. And it can't create the real creation.
It's very true. It has. Well, we know who created ChatGPT.
Yes.
We did,
That's right.
right? So how does this all tie into people regaining faith, I guess we could say? Like you said that ChatGPT is fake creation. Like we created. It's artificial intelligence, essentially.
It's artificial.
It's us. But it's recreating itself. It's rewriting itself. So when I say, do you believe it or do you trust it? What's the extent that you're stopping at?
When it says that it's God.
Does it though?
How do we know?
Isn't that scary?
Have
Hasn't
we,
gotten to that
have we
point.
gotten to that
We
stage?
haven't got to that
Scary.
stage yet. At some point, it could turn around and say, I'm God. I'm the creator. I created it all. Because if it's rewriting things, then technically it is creating its own information. It can make the claim.
Holy, isn't that scary to think of though?
Now, the claim isn't true. But there is a movement of people, and probably a vast majority of people, that will believe it.
Can I ask you why you think this is good? Can I ask you why you think it's not true?
Because I believe in Jesus Christ.
What year is this? 2025.
Yes.
What about 3035? The people who don't know anything other than ChatGPT. Then they'll start wondering who the creator is, right? Because we know back in the day. But for the new technologically advanced civilization, do you think that they're going to get misguided on what is the creator?
It's
No.
up to us. It's up to us, right? To
Leadership.
to pass that down from generation to generation, right? That's what it comes down to. And to, tell our generations, this is the truth.
Mhm.
And the truth is Jesus Christ. That is the truth.
Jesus was the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Right?
Yes.
So then the question remains, and just jumping back into the ChatGPT and the business aspect of things, you guys are seasoned vets in the construction and building world. To what extent will you ask ChatGPT for help? And then, Nick, you presented something to me behind the scenes of a little project that you wrote up. What's it called?
Yeah, so what I did was a back of the napkin performa where I ran out the entire performa with a pen on a piece of paper to the point where I actually drew out the building and how it would look. And once I was convinced by the financial feasibility based on that back of the napkin performa, then I transferred it into an actual document where I really lay out some detailed numbers and some granular numbers that can give me a real image of what a project's going to look like. And I know that where you're leading with this because I said
That's right.
to you that I can now take this back of the napkin performa, scan it to ChatGPT and tell it to run my actual performa with a number of metrics. I haven't done that because I still like the human side of being able to write out these performas and run budgets and share them with my partner who's the CFO and get his insight. And we typically do that 4 or 5 times until we refine it. Could ChatGPT refine it in one shot? Maybe, but there's a lot of elements, inputs that have to be told to ChatGPT, which are always changing, and it can't predict. The market's changing, interest rates are dropping, but people still aren't buying. People still aren't renting because the inventory levels are as high as they were in 2008 as of today, which means people aren't buying and they're not renting. ChatGPT can't predict that. So when I'm reading a line here that says supply chain optimization of AI can monitor and predict supply chain disruptions, allowing for proactive adjustments and cost savings, I don't know how it's going to do that.
Can't you ask it? I need a prediction. Can't it? You can prompt a prediction. You can say, this is what I'm presenting you. I need a forecast prediction for 2 months. I bet you it can. Now, how accurate is that prediction?
Right.
But how accurate is our prediction?
Right.
Scary stuff.
Right.
So if you guys are going to do that performance that Nick did, would you ask ChatGPT or would you just leave it alone and you two figure it out?
I'm not totally comfortable having ChatGPT do it yet. Until it gets, maybe down the road I will, right? But for the time being, I'm not that comfortable. I prefer to do it myself based on what I know, based on, the different aspects available to me.
Based on the human touch, the human intellectual
Yeah.
ability.
I think
And
it's
based
also
on
based
experience,
on
too.
experiences and nuances of
Yeah.
every project, right? ChatGPT is not going to know that
No. You know why?
because every project is a prototype. I say it all the time. You can design the exact same building with the exact same designers and build it with the exact same trades, but put one of those buildings in Toronto and put another one of those buildings in Barrie, and the two projects will go completely different.
Why?
Because they're built for the first time every time. Every site has got
right.
different
That's right.
conditions. You go into the ground. We went into the ground in Oakville thinking that we weren't going to hit shale for 9 or so meters. We ended up hitting it after a meter, and we were chipping away for the rest of the excavation. Didn't know that. We went into the ground thinking we didn't have any water until we opened up a waterway in the shale, and now we've got constant water there, which needed to be addressed through the course of construction. Sump pits and pumps that pump into the storm and whatnot. Different variables on different sites. There's no way you're going to be able to predict that. You go into the site in Barrie, and as you're digging, they hit a piece of concrete 18 feet in the ground. They don't even know what the heck it is. They don't even know what the heck it is.
Did you do a survey prior to?
Of course, but you can only do geotechnical investigations on, a certain number of boreholes throughout the
right.
site. Those
they
boreholes
use
are
different- they use
also
different
4
sections.
inches wide.
Yeah.
So even if you do 50 of them on an acre and a half,
Yes,
you're still not
nothing.
going to catch every single pocket.
That's right.
So now they're going into the ground and they find this concrete slab, which Electra's not taking ownership of, Bell isn't taking ownership of, neither is the city of Barrie or Simcoe. What is it?
Treasure hunt.
It's treasure hunt. Maybe it is a treasure, man. If it's a treasure, I'm going to stop building. We're out of here. We're going somewhere tropical.
So this is how we're going to end off this episode. ChatGPT is a vital part of integration into any business. Would you agree? Would you agree that you
I
should
think it has
incorporate
its place.
Okay. Where does it have its place with One Urban?
Well, look, we use it for analyzing, certain market trends. We use it for even asking for talking points on certain subjects that we're talking about today.
Do you use it for cross-checking?
In some instances, yes. If we have a contract that's 60 pages long and it's gone back and forth from lawyer to lawyer to lawyer to lawyer, by the time it gets to a signature point, it's usually had a few revisions and thousands of lines of red markings on it. And the quickest way to figure out what the changes are is just upload it to ChatGPT and say, tell us the changes.
How long does that take?
Seconds.
Instantly.
How? How?
I know.
Because it computes at a much higher speed than humans ever will.
So, do you know what the computing is right now for ChatGPT? They're ones and zeros. Do you know what's coming in within the next 5 years? Quantum computing. So if you thought it was fast now, wait until that comes. That's not ones and zeros. That's infinite amounts of numbers. So the question always remains, if you're going to use, what's that other program that you're going to use? That you use?
Open Space AI.
No, not Open Space. It started with a P.
Procore.
What is it?
Perplexity?
Yes. So real briefly, before we head on out, explain what that is.
Perplexity. Yeah, go ahead.
Perplexity is another AI platform like ChatGPT, but it's strictly analytical and data driven. It doesn't take opinions of people. It doesn't take trends. It is strictly analytical and will analyze anything for you. Wow. Give it a problem and it'll give you an analytical
No
answer.
BS.
No BS. It's straight to the fact.
This almost seems better than ChatGPT. It's taking away all that fluff.
I use Perplexity. I like it.
Is it expensive? Because I think
I use the free version.
Really?
I haven't needed it to the point where I'm going to pay for it yet.
Do you guys use Gemini?
Yes, I do.
Now, Gemini, obviously, that is the Google killer, even though it's owned by Google. Because you have instant access, it's on your phone. Do you feel like you're going to start incorporating that into your daily regimen? Maybe
I already do.
Do you?
Yeah. How? When I'm looking up a document that, like I said a moment ago, is 60 pages long, and I want it to find every reference to the word budget, then I just ask it, find every reference on this document to the word budget, and it'll give me a list with the actual point number and the page of where it's located, and then I go and find it. It gives me, in 3 seconds, I can find every single answer I'm looking for from a 62-page document, and being very specific about what I'm looking for. Great.
I use it for personal reasons.
What's that?
I'm looking for this item in this size, in this color, with these attributes.
And it gives you the link.
And it gives me the exact item that I'm looking for, as opposed to me trying to
search the web for it.
Exactly.
The water thing. That's how I found some of the water.
Exactly.
You probably do the same thing.
Absolutely.
We're looking for a water dispenser for the fitness center at Old Bronte.
Okay.
We're just about to install it, and we're looking for a sleek, low-profile, but high-end looking water dispenser. So we're not just putting an industrial silver and gray plastic machine there. And within seconds, we had a list of every single one of them in that criteria and where they're located in the website to order it.
Wow.
Very useful for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Wow. So now that you can allocate more time, you can grow your business in the time that it would have taken you to do all this. So do you think that ChatGPT right now is giving people the opportunity to grow at scale because it's eliminating all of that unnecessary time, like ice water time?
It depends on what you use it for. So having a discussion with somebody the other day that has an AI program on their email only, and what it does is it searches all the emails that require a task to be done. For example, somebody is setting a calendar date and it requires you to actually send that calendar invite. It'll just send it for you. So that you don't even have to go and take the extra step of replying to the email. And it'll reply to the email of the person that suggested, let's have lunch tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It'll reply back, great, I'm sending you a calendar invite, and then sends the calendar invite. But it's only going to do the things you tell it to do. So if you limit it to just sending calendar invites and replying to those sorts of emails, great, it'll do it. Otherwise, there's a lot more case uses for it just on the email aspect. Which for a guy like me, it's always going to be useful. I'm looking at currently 358 emails in my inbox. I've had no less than 350 emails for the past week and a half, but I'm answering emails all day long. They just never drop that number because as I'm answering, more keep coming in. So at nighttime, I'm spending my time going and looking at the earliest of the emails, getting them off of my list, but I'm never caught up. With a program like AI, it'll go through my emails, and it'll just read and give me a summary of everything that I really need to know. Now, I'm not going to do that because I'm still very type A in that aspect. I need to be on top of that. But I can see its case use right there. Like, you know, we've contemplated bringing on administrative assistants for Joe and I. I don't even think you would need it.
No.
Why pay an administrative assistant, X amount of dollars a year when I can give $28 a month for ChatGPT and let ChatGPT be my administrative assistant? Yeah. I just heard you go on ChatGPT right now and it had a female voice and it sounded like your assistant.
Yeah.
That could totally be my assistant.
But she is my assistant.
She is your assistant.
She knows my role. She knows the role.
Yeah.
I gave her that role. And she knows every time I answer for her, she's ready with knowledge.
If I had a day like a Saturday and where I was literally answering emails all day long just to kind of get them off my plate, I could probably get it done in a couple of days. Go through all of them. But, you know, on a Saturday, I maybe get a couple of hours to do that sort of work. And that's just answering emails. But I have other work that I do that's not email related, letter writing, communicating with certain trades or consultants on a particular matter, or writing up proposals, or writing up proposals for municipalities for future projects. Like, these are all outside of my emails that ChatGPT can't do, and I just don't have time on a Saturday to do all of that. So I would literally need 2 days, maybe 3, just to get caught up just on emails.
Are you the same, Joe?
Yeah. So to answer your question,
Tell me.
businesses will be at a disadvantage if they do not use AI or ChatGPT in some way, shape, or form. Full stop.
Mic drop.
Full stop.
Well, gentlemen, it's about that time. We got to tell them where to find us, or else ChatGPT will do it for us.
Find us on the web and on social at oneurban.ca, info at oneurban.ca, and that's a wrap.
Until next time.
Where bricks get laid and dreams are built. Until next time, happy building.